Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Digital Duality with the Guru and the Grasshopper. I just wanted to welcome you guys today to the show. This is the first ever podcast in a series of hopefully many. So again, welcome. We'll be covering quite a few things, everything from digital marketing to search engine optimization to Google ads, so forth and so on. Most of the information we cover will be from the perspective of, well, a guru and a grasshopper, also known as Grace. So welcome everybody to the show. Yay!
Woo-hoo! We did it. This has been a project that I've wanted to do for a while. Because I know that everyone has a podcast now. And I feel like this is something that there isn't a lot of podcasts or a lot of just like openness about it. And I feel like with your Facebook, you're always super open. You're like, this is the key. Here are the keys to success. Here you go. So I think that recording it and then breaking it down from your level of thinking to like the average Joe, me, will be good for everyone for sure.
No, I agree. I've been asked a lot of times to do a podcast, and honestly, I haven't had the time, or I wasn't sure on the topic. So I guess everything was serendipitous in this regard, because obviously you have a different level of understanding than I do. And one of the biggest complaints that I get in all my groups and on Facebook, so forth and so on, is that I can't break down information into an easily digestible way. So hopefully we can nail that between the both of us, especially as we bring on, featured co-hosts, featured guests, so forth and so on. So just to kick it off, Grace, give us a little background about yourself. Let us know, like, what got you to where you are today. Digital marketing, obviously, you work for my company, which is cool, but let us know how you got there and so forth and so on.
Well, I mean, you want me to start at the beginning, like the very beginning, or like where do you want me to? I mean, I guess when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a teacher. And so I went to school, I got my degree, early childhood and special education, my dual. And I got my teaching certificate, and then COVID hit. And then I worked at Target for a little while. So I worked on my customer service, which, actually helps me in this job. And I subbed, and then one of my teachers from middle school, actually, her husband had an opening at a school. She's like, hey, I heard that you were looking for a job. Do you want to do that? So I taught online for a year, and then I got transferred to a in-person school. And let's just say there was some drama. So in the midst of all this, I had met you like a year and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
About that. Yeah.
And you had known me as a teacher, and then I was thinking about getting my master's degree in instructional design and technology, and that can be many different things. And I kind of wanted to do project management with it. And so shout out ASU. Devils.
Don't hold that against don't hold that against us, anybody.
Well, I mean, you live in Tucson, so like U of A
whatever. All day.
Whatever. Anyway, so I quit my job in the middle of the year, and that was like the hardest thing I have ever had to do. It was the toughest decision, but for me, for like my health, it was just, at that point, there was no other alternative. And so I had spent time looking for jobs. And, as a teacher, like you do one thing, you don't really work with business, you talk with parents, like that kind of thing, but you're not really in the business world. And so originally you had said like, hey, we're thinking about this position, which was the client support specialist at the time.
Yep.
And I know you and Victoria had talked about it. And then, we were kind of like on the fence about it, but we tried it out to see how it went, and it went really well. And I'm almost 6 months working for you guys, and I love it. And it's been an amazing journey so far. So
that's night and day, going from teacher and, elementary education, right? You were an elementary teacher.
Kindergarten, actually, mostly. Yeah.
To digital marketing. I mean, that's just literally very contrasting, very polarizing. Yeah. So it's cool to hear, about the turn of events and so forth and so on. What do you think about it? Like just in general, obviously it's very different, but how do you feel about digital marketing as a whole? Is it nebulous? Is it hard to grasp? Does it take a lot of time? What can we tell our listeners, you know, that are just getting into digital marketing? Maybe they are teachers out there, or maybe they're in a different profession. What should they be aware of if they're going to make, you know, a jump into such a different profession?
I think the thing about it is it was very overwhelming at first, but we have amazing members on our team that really just kind of took me under their wing and like chunked it down for me. But as a whole, I feel like it's not difficult, but there's just a lot of things that play into each other and kind of intermesh. So I would say for anyone who is getting started, like it's not, I mean, it is, some things are very challenging. I'll give you that. Some things are like, I need 6 more tries to get this right. Sure. But it's just a lot of information, and just knowing that you're not going to get it the first time, or you're not going to know everything right now. And that's okay, because we're all learning. And I think that's the thing that I love about it the most, is that you're always learning something new. You're always trying something new. There's always something to do. There's always, I mean, it might be sitting at your desk all day and I like get up and walk around and, you know, do things, but yeah, it's definitely been life-changing for me. Like it'll be life-changing for other people too. I think it's just a lot of information all at once. A lot of
information. No, I agree in your sentiment that everything coalesces. And I don't think people understand that if you're doing ads, that, you know, ties into SEO. If you're doing SEO, that ties into web design. If you're doing web design, that ties into even Facebook ads, because you have to create landing pages or whatever the case may be. So essentially it's all these different puzzle pieces that come together. But what excites you about these projects? Like what gets you going? When are you in the zone and just super focused and hyped up and just want to see customers do well or clients do well? Like what gets you there?
I mean, I think it's just the whole mentality of the team is really what it is. And I mean, not everyone's going to have an amazing team like we do, but I really think it's the way that Victoria set up ClickUp, which is our project management system, the way that we interact with our clients on Facebook, the way that, you know, we tell them like, hey, this isn't doing so great. Do you want to do this? Or like give them options. And I think the thing that gets me up in the morning is the fact that our clients are always doing so well. They're always getting better. They're always like reaching their goals, you know, or we get a great review from a client's customer who's like, they went the extra mile. And I'm like, yes, I love to hear that. I really do. That, you know, we treat our clients well so that they can treat their customers well. And I think that is something that you don't necessarily see all the time in the business world, at least from an outsider perspective. I don't know, but from my perspective, that's definitely something that I see.
No, I think in general, customer service has lost its art in a lot of ways, especially as things become automated, especially in our industry, right? People want to throw up Chat GPT bots or just AI in general and totally circumvent the human to human interaction, which is essentially why we hired your position, is because me and Victoria definitely believe in human interaction. We think that it goes a long way. We think that, you know, without our customers and our clients, we don't even have a company to begin with. So trying to automate that as an entire aspect of our business just never made sense. Yeah, it never made sense to us. It was like, why? Like, let's give people a real human. I don't want to give them an automated system.
Yeah.
So
and the automated system that doesn't really work.
Right, exactly. Like when I call into Verizon Wireless or wherever I'm calling into, I'm like 000. Just give me a person. And I know
me a person. And
we're different generations, but I'm just like 000.
No, but like when I'm calling it a Walgreens and I'm like prescription refill, and it's like, did you want to talk to the food business? Or like the food people? I'm like, no.
Well, why not? Of course they can.
I want to check the status of my prescription. Like,
no. I think it's an interesting topic, and it might even be a whole other topic that we discuss in an episode in the future. Just simply because everybody is automating everything, and it's just insane to me, and it always has been. So thanks again for being on the team. Thanks again for being with us, for making that transition. It's been pretty
pretty seamless, honestly.
Oh, well,
I mean, my Apple Watch is like, why aren't you doing 15,000 steps a day? But you know,
I think that is, one of the downfalls about digital marketing in general. And we can talk about some of that too, but
yeah,
essentially not getting enough physical activity. It can take a toll on your mental health working
oh yeah,
remote, especially if you don't have a tight knit team. So that can always be a problem as well. But yeah, no, thanks for giving us that information, introducing yourself. I'll go ahead and take next 2 minutes to introduce myself. Most people already know about me. Obviously my name is Schieler. A lot of people pronounce it incorrectly. Schieler. So
Schieler is one of my
Schieler.
favorite. Or Sheila. We've gotten Sheila before.
Can I speak to Sheila? Yeah. So yeah, my name's Schieler. Obviously I've been in search engine optimization and digital marketing as a whole for about 11 to 15 years, depending on how you look at it. I started in web design. I was a stay-at-home dad, just kind of looking for extra income. My girlfriend at the time, we had a daughter together, my stepdaughter. She was always working, and I was like, hey, I got to contribute to this family. What can I do? I needed a stay-at-home job because daycare is expensive.
Daycare is redonkulous.
Ridiculous. Yeah, no, I'm sure you are aware as a teacher. So I was like, what can I do from home to help, make money more or less and to contribute to my family? So I got into web design because I had taken some classes at an earlier point in my life. And one thing kind of led into another. And then I realized that if I just stayed in web design, and a lot of web designers deal with this, I was going to have to constantly be fishing, always looking for clients because there was no ongoing monthly income.
Yeah.
Right. So after I got that in my head, I was like, well, I need money every month. I can't just do one website.
Yeah, and especially with a child, like you have to have that steady stream, right?
Right, exactly. So that led into search engine optimization, which was super challenging, but it was cool because I had this mentor. His name was Aaron, and he does a lot of cool things. But he came to me and he was like, "Hey, man, I got Uber as a client. I got DoorDash as a client. I got Postmates as a client, and
they want really you had those as clients?
Yeah. And
like early days of those.
Those were my first SEO clients.
Are you serious?
Were Fortune 100, Fortune 100 and 500 companies.
Oh my gosh.
And so he came to me and he was like, hey, man, do you know SEO? We need to rank these websites. And I was like, bro, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really have a choice at that point. Like those are huge companies.
Right. Plus, when you have a kid and you have all these other outside influential factors, you're like, I just got to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. And, we talk about it now. We'll take business trips sometimes and whatnot. And he'll be like, hey, man, it's great that you started in the NFL because now doing local SEO and digital marketing, you're like going back to, junior, sophomore, high school level.
Yeah. And you just have so much more experience in like what works, what doesn't, what.
Right.
Just like the little things that not everyone thinks about. Right.
Well, it was nice because some of those clients have larger budgets, and when you have larger budgets, you can try different things, you get more freedom, so forth and so on. But essentially, that got all closed out. Uber went in-house, Lyft went in-house because they were tired of paying outside companies, millions of dollars for search engine optimization and marketing. So that led into me getting a local gig here in Tucson, Arizona with a company.
Where you're from originally?
Originally from CS Design Studio. Shout out to them. They're a really good marketing agency. I loved working for them. Really good people over there. But I was there for about 2 years. Met Victoria while I was there, who was the co-owner of my current agency. And one thing kind of led to another, and we ended up with our own company. And I don't know, we have like hundreds of clients now. We got my mind is just
200.
My mind over 200. My mind is just blown. I think with like GMBs plus clients plus white label, we have like hundreds of websites, hundreds of clients. It's just it's a lot. And it's honestly,
and it's only like 3 years old, right? Like
really it'll be 3 years old this October. It's not even
that's insane.
Yeah. So honestly, it was a blessing. Like I never pictured where I'm at, not only where I'm at today, but what I'd be able to provide for others, the team, Victoria, and even how it affects our clients too, right? Because when we do good for our clients, it affects their employees, it affects their kids, it affects their ecosystem as well. So
wait, their what?
Their ecosystem.
Their what?
Ecosystem.
There we go. There we go.
Ecosystem.
Ecosystem. There we go.
I don't get out a lot, so I don't know how a lot of words are pronounced.
Okay, I got you.
My
I went to school to be a
pronunciation.
teacher. Like I'll do your handwriting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My pronunciation, that was a hard one for me too, because like pronounce is like said pronounce. So I was like pronunciate, but that's not how you say it. Pronunciation, right? Not pronunciation.
But then again, I grew up in Canada, so some of my stuff is still influenced by the Queen's English. So
I don't have no idea what that means, but
it's English.
Shout outs to the Queen.
American English, and then there's the Queen's English, which is British and Canada.
Okay. So it's just like British dialect, or
well, it's more like there's little things. So like in the word favorite in America, it's FAVORITE.
Instead of OUR, right?
But in Canada, it's OU.
Okay,
and
so
same in color.
Right.
And instead of process, they say process.
Process.
Yes, there's some little, they come out every so often, and I'm just like, oh, did I really just say that? And then I go, oh, like I'm from the Midwest, so.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense then. Well, I appreciate you and your ability to candidly and straightforwardly correct me.
Oh, of course.
100%.
So I guess from here, we've kind of introduced ourselves. We've kind of understood, what our company is about. And now I think we should just dive into like general stuff. Or do you want to dig a little deeper into?
Let's do it. Let's jump right into, the fundamentals of digital marketing, search engine optimization, and from the grasshopper and the guru's perspective. By the way, I hate that word, the guru word. People have used that word with me, and I hate that word. So I'm trying to take a spin on it, because I don't actually consider myself a guru. I'm always learning, you know how it is. But I feel like it might get us some extra clicks because people want to see guru. So
the guru,
let's go.
I just liked the grasshopper because it kind of reminded me of, it kind of gave me like that nostalgic, like kids.
Right.
Like
the kids feel.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I felt like it fit.
It fit. Right.
It fit.
So your name from here forth is Grasshopper, even at the company, or?
No.
Just on the podcast.
Just on the podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't want to confuse everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's fine. Okay. So SEO, basically SEO, or search engine optimization, which I did not know what it was before I had no idea.
Most people don't. People ask me what I do, and I'm like, internet thingies.
There's really, unless you go for like an hour-long podcast, it's hard to like give a real definition of it, I guess. Right.
I mean, but what is SEO to you? Like, a lot of people have, a certain perspective or an understanding. If you had to define and create a definition and a perspective of your understanding of SEO, what even is it? Like, what is search engine optimization at your point in your career?
Yeah, no, when my family asks me, like, what is SEO? Usually I'll say we try to be the first thing you see when you search something on Google.
Okay.
If we are like the top thing, you see like sponsored ads, or you see like the top thing, or when you're looking on your phone for like a restaurant, like you look at there's like the pictures, and then there's the side, and then, like we try to be number one, we try to make you number one, that's usually what I tell them. I mean, it's so much more than that, but that is the chunked definition. There's my teacher word, chunked definition of what SEO is. We try to make sure that you are visible, you are seen, and that people be like, oh, maybe I should try them, So.
Okay, so more or less ranking people, getting people to the top of the search engine results page on Google so that they can be found.
Yes, that's the overarching definition. There's so much more that goes into that, but that is like the overarching definition of what I think it is, at least.
No, absolutely. I think that's what most people would agree with in general, is that search engine optimization is trying to get to the top of Google. From my perspective, I guess search engine optimization is literally the optimization of anything for search.
Oh.
So, which is very, very broad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's so many different things you can do to optimize for search, which is where
Mhm.
you get into this kind of polarizing topic of, is Google Ads search engine optimization? Is GMB search engine optimization?
Well,
I
because it's
mean,
all a part of it.
right. It's all a part of optimizing for Google and search results to be at the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, to me, it's this over encompassing, I guess, discipline, right? And so many
Yeah.
things go into it
Mhm.
more than just being at the top of Google, because even down to, so think about this, right? If you have two different competitors, number one and number two,
Mhm.
depending on how you optimize even your titles on the front page of Google, you're going
Yeah.
to get more clicks than the other person.
Mhm.
So even writing good copy, which goes back to copywriting, is a part of
Mhm.
optimizing for search engines.
Which I am not a strong writer, but you know,
No. Yeah, yeah. Well, me neither. I
oh,
mean,
thanks for
that's why.
agreeing with me. Appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you.
I've never seen
Um,
your writing. We use a lot of AI these days.
yeah, we do. We do. But okay, so what I'm hearing is it's not just the search, it's everything you see on the web page.
It is everything that you do to optimize for the search engine.
Yeah.
Yes, down from copywriting
Mhm.
to click-through rates
Mhm.
to, arguably Google Ads, and we can get into this on a different podcast, GMB, but
Mhm.
anything you do to optimize for the search engine, even as a indirect cause and effect. Doesn't even have to be direct.
Okay. So
Indirect.
what would one of those like indirect cause and effects? Do you have an example?
Sure. Backlinks, for example, you don't, a consumer doesn't see backlinks on the front page of Google, but you are still optimizing to come up in the search engine higher by getting backlinks.
Can we take a 10-second? What is a backlink?
So a backlink is a referential link. It's a vote of confidence from another website pointing to your website through what is called anchor text to let Google know
Okay.
that it is recommending you.
So that is different from like the ads thing where it like gives you ads for like on the side of like the web page, like you should check out this shopping store.
Yeah, I mean
Different than that?
that could be a backlink to a shopping store, but
Okay.
that's a program called AdSense, or
So
it
it's
could also,
different.
it is, but it's also the same. Again, everything coalesces, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So
Okay.
in
So
general, that would be considered something different.
like on a site, let's
Mhm.
say you have we deal with carpet cleaners a lot, right?
Right,
And
right.
HVAC, and those are
Home
kind of our
services, plumbers, right?
services. I like to say the trades because that's kind of where we are.
Sure, sure.
So let's say they sponsored their local football team, right?
Right.
And they have like their little logo on the banner, on the stuff like at the stadium. Then on the website for the football like boosters or whatever, they have the logo there too that links to the other page. And then on our client's website, we have the logo of the school, which links to the school.
So that's called a reciprocating link, because now
Does that always happen or no?
No. Sometimes that you just get backlinks. Sometimes only the school will link to the client, or the client will link to the school. So that's a one-way backlink. And then you have reciprocating links, which go both ways.
Okay.
And there is some debate. This goes pretty deep, but there's a debate on whether reciprocating links are less effective than one-way links, because when you're reciprocating, you're passing link equity both ways rather than just one way.
The one way.
Right.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, effectively, that is my opinion on what search engine optimization is. Just the over-encompassing, overarching optimization of everything for search, which obviously goes into a lot of different topics.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess now my question is, why should businesses care so much about SEO, and should it be the only thing that they do? Because I know that is something that I've seen, I guess, on the boards a lot, and like random like Reddit, like, is it the one size fits all? Does it work? Is it the only thing you should be doing, or should you be doing other things too?
Well, why don't you answer that question first? I'll let the grasshopper give her input, and then I'll tell you. I just don't want to be biased and affect
No,
your
you're
answer.
fine. I guess from just my perspective, yes, you should care about SEO. You absolutely should care about SEO, because SEO is a part of the total marketing strategy. And digital marketing is just like, you think of a pie chart, there's digital marketing, there's print marketing, and then there's other marketing. I'm gonna put other because I don't have a specific one right now.
Okay.
And it should all be pieces of the pie, right? And SEO falls into that digital marketing part of it. So I think that if you want to be effective as a business, you need to have a total marketing strategy. And that needs to include digital marketing and print marketing and SEO and the digital marketing. But it shouldn't be the entire piece of that digital marketing pie piece.
I would 100% agree with what you're saying in the fact that search engine optimization should be supplemental to a point, 100%. Okay. And there are multiple forms of digital marketing, right? Like you can contact Cox or other places to get placements on their networks, right? As a digital platform. So like say you have Cox Internet, right?
Okay.
You have Cox Internet, and every time you pull up their a browser, you see the Cox information page and their portal, and they have sponsored ads everywhere. Yes. They track people around the website or around the internet for you, and then they promote your ads through their digital mediums.
I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know Cox does that, for example, and so do a lot of other networks. They're playing in this digital space.
Comcast, CenturyLink,
Comcast,
Verizon, whatever.
So I don't know if they specifically have programs like that, but I know Cox does because we have a good relationship with Cox here locally. I know a lot of people use them for what are called placements, paid placements. Okay. And it's within the Cox network because they have so many digital platforms. So back to what you were saying, you know, there's this huge chunk of digital, which consists of a fractional part of SEO. And then you have other parts of digital. And then not only that, but you have what you were referring to as traditional marketing, which is print, billboards, radio, things of that nature. And then you have the whole over-encompassing picture, which I don't think most people are able to segment into smaller parts what they should be doing. And they tend to focus a lot on search engine optimization. And to be fair, it's probably because search engine optimization has, this is going to offend a lot of people, but I'm going to say it, been overhyped to a certain extent. Search engine optimization is incredibly important, but there is a much bigger picture going on.
So what do you think has been overhyped about it? Just like the effectiveness of it?
No. I think search engine optimization is incredibly effective. You know, a certain percentage of all consumers say they consult with Google before making a purchasing decision.
Oh, absolutely. I Google everything.
Yeah, so do I. Or I go and check reviews, and that's, again, part of search engine optimization, or I click on ads, or they click on ads, whatever the case may be. But search engine optimization as a whole is not going to continue to help you grow your business in every way, shape, and form. You do have to do other forms of marketing, especially if you want to be a remembered name. Right? Yeah. So like Gettle. Everybody knows Gettle.
Oh, GOETTL. It'll keep you cool, but it's hard to spell.
And where did you hear that?
On the radio.
Right. You heard it on the radio. And now if you were needed to use
Google, it's like the Empire
Gettle
commercial. Right. 588-2300 Empire today. And it would like, no.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But
okay, it's an Illinois thing. Sorry. It's a Midwest thing. So I'm sorry.
Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah. Is it Illinois?
There's an S. Don't say the S.
You know there's an S on it.
You don't say the S.
When is the S ever silent in any other word? Give me an example. You were a teacher. Go ahead. I'll wait.
I have to get back to you on that one.
All right. I'll be waiting. So we'll go with Illinois for right now.
No, that's not how you say it.
So back to what I was saying. So if you wanted to use Gettle because they're top of mind, it's called top of mind marketing. What would you do at this point? Now that you've heard the commercial, now that they're top of mind, you would go to where?
Google.
And you would Google them. So now it's coalescing again, excuse me. They're top of mind marketing because you heard them on the radio. You remembered their song. You went to Google. So now there's two different forms of marketing that are essentially getting you to use their service.
Okay. So it's like layered.
Right. It's layered. It's called customer touch points. So you have a touch point with the radio.
Yeah.
And then you have a touch point with the website.
Yeah.
And then if you choose not to use them, you might go to Facebook and see an ad for them. So now you have a third touch point. You see what they're doing there?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
like 1984 right there.
right.
Yeah. Just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Big Brother, just a little,
Right. Little
but
bit, but it's
it
three forms
works.
of marketing. It's literally
It
three forms of
works.
marketing.
Yeah,
Right.
it really works. Okay.
So I think that a lot of businesses miss the opportunity for things like that, you know,
Mhm.
remarketing to people on Facebook who visited the website, vice versa. Radio is still super big, depending on who you talk to. I guess they might have different opinions about
I
it.
listen to Spotify, but they have ads on there too.
Right, exactly. Spotify, Pandora, even TV. Like I said, we work closely with
What is
Cox. I know.
TV anymore?
Honestly, hey, I'm going to tell you right now. So Cummings Plumbing, they're
Yes.
huge. You know,
Yes,
they're big
they're
here
one
in
of our
Tucson.
clients. Yes, shout out.
They're huge. Shout out to Cummings Plumbing, great
Yeah.
plumbing company.
Mhm.
So we have a drop down form on their website that says, "How
Mhm.
did you hear about us?" And one of the
Yeah.
options is TV,
Mhm.
and that gets picked more
Okay,
than you
but
think it would.
also, what is their demographic of people who use them the most?
Well, what is the demographic of people who use or who own homes? Older people,
Not millennials and not
right,
Gen
right,
Zs.
right.
So
Older people who still watch TV.
I guess. I mean, they're getting their market. They definitely are.
Right.
However, would not be me.
No, 100%. It's not me either. I don't watch TV, but I know that a lot of people do.
But I have like
and,
Hulu and they do ads. So
and that's the thing about Cox is they do what's called OTT.
okay.
And OTT is a digital form of marketing that it asserts itself on digital programming networks, more or less.
So like Netflix, Hulu.
Yes, if they have a contract
YouTube TV.
with those providers, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
it like
they
gives you ads that are specific to like your area or you.
placements.
Yes.
You get more placements.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think that that's a pretty comprehensive understanding from both your side and my side.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so common SEO myths.
There's a lot of SEO myths floating around.
So we had kind of talked about SEO being the whole.
Right.
You know, that's it. That's all you got. That's all you have to do. We kind of touched on that. But another thing that I think that I hear a lot is how do you even quantify what SEO can do? Because the almighty Google.
Right.
Almighty Google. Always like they have those two big algorithm changes every year, right? And then they have like little updates as they go.
Daily.
So like, yes. So how can you even quantify or how could you even like keep up enough to know what's going to work or what's not?
So are we suggesting that knowing what is going on in SEO is a myth?
Kind of, because Google is really the, you know, they're, you know, the big tuna, you know, they
got the Bush's
know
baked
what they're going to do. They know
Bush's
what they're
baked bean secret, right? In the vault, the Bush's baked secret in the vault. That's what Google is, right?
Or the Krabby Patty formula. That's
right.
in well, you know what's in the Krabby Patty formula now. Spoiler alert, it's crab meat.
Imagine that.
But you know why? Do you know why we know that? Because there's no other crabs.
Right. So, but there are other search engines.
Yes, there are, but we don't use them.
We do. Well, a certain percentage does. I don't, but I use Bing from time to time, depending on if I'm on a Windows laptop, but that's by force, not by choice. So,
okay.
So back to what you were saying is the fact that knowing what's going on with Google and algorithms, a myth. When people say they know what's going on, is that a myth? What is your perspective on that?
Yes and no.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yes, I know that when you've been doing this for so long, like you have, I guess maybe just as a newbie, you know their patterns. You know, kind of, you know, what they might tweak, what they might not, what might work, what might won't, you know. And then also know, because like we said, the Krabby Patty formula is locked up in the vault. They don't let anybody know. So I'm saying yes and no, but I might be completely wrong.
No, I think that you're right. If you've been doing search engine optimization long enough, you know that there are some things that are indisputably going to work or, for lack of better words, move the needle.
And that aren't going to change because they work.
Right. Because they work. For example, one of those things going back to backlinks, is called PageRank, which is a algorithm and a patent designed by Google.
Okay.
Which helps rank websites higher based on how many backlinks it has that are considered
so like quality. That's the foundation, right?
I think that at one point it was the foundation. When, if we go back into search engine optimization in history, they were looking for the quickest way to rank websites.
Yes.
It was backlinks.
That wasn't the most quality driven process. Yes.
Right. There wasn't much quality to it. You could get spammy backlinks. You could get any type of backlink and you would move up in the ranks. And now Google is trying to shift back to a place where they are looking at quality over quantity in terms of backlinks and in terms of user engagement. So in terms of it being an SEO myth, I think that you're completely right. Yes and no. There are things that are fundamentally always going to work no matter what, because of how the search engine is designed at its core. And then there are things that are going to move the needle both in the interim and long term, depending on what Google decides for their own algorithm ranking system.
Okay.
So, but for anybody to say, hey, I know how to completely exploit Google and rank you higher on the page is just insanity. And that's why we don't tell customers, hey, we're going to rank you number one, or you're going to be on the first page. We tell them we're going to do our best to follow Google's guidelines and recommendations, what we understand to be true about search engine optimization. And hopefully the end result is that you rank.
Is that you are ranking the highest that you possibly, or number one. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And in turn, that should theoretically lead to more leads, more revenue, more customer acquisition.
Yeah.
If this is done. But ultimately, I would agree with that it is a myth. If anybody is telling you that they know the ins and outs of Google, they should probably reassess that. Yeah. And if hopefully they don't truly believe that. And if they do, then I mean, they should be giving out the handbook, I guess.
Yeah. Can I have a copy, please?
Right. I'd love a copy too. Like
I would love to see, all those things that they think that,
Yeah, shoot one my way. Are there any other myths that you can think that come to mind? I mean, to me, there's tons of myths out there about SEO, but it's very specific.
Not that I know of at this point in time.
Okay, cool.
Just because I think I'm so new.
Right.
But those are like the two big ones. Like, is it worth it? And should it be everything I do? Those are the two. I think those are also the two things that I hear a lot from our clients and from like people on the boards. Like, and your Facebook page that you run, those are the two things that I think come up the most.
No, 100%. I think this might be a good segment in our podcast to kind of keep, like, what are the SEO myths? Let's talk about them. Let's
absolutely
open conversation. Let's understand them, because I feel like a lot of people don't.
Maybe our listeners could send us,
that'd be cool.
myths that they've heard, and then we can,
we can discuss that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that.
No, I think that we could break it down. And even for business owners listening, if you're like doing your own SEO or whatever the case may be, it'll be good for them to know,
Yeah, absolutely.
No, absolutely. 100%. So I think, that kind of segues into our next discussion about what are even the core concepts of search engine optimization, right? I mean, that's a whole broad topic.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. You want to start?
Sure. I'd love to. So to me, there's a few core concepts of search engine optimization, and they often get missed, but they are authority, relevancy, proximity, how close you are, or especially for GMBs, right? Proximity.
Yes.
And then prominence.
Okay. So I know like 2 of the 4.
What are the 2 that you know?
Authority.
Okay.
That's only because I use SEMrush and I look at the authority score.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I would like to clarify that is SEMrush's authority score, not Google's.
Okay. I didn't even know that. And then the proximity thing, because of the GMBs. And if you type in near me, it's going to take your
Right.
location
Yep. Yep.
near you. So those are the two that I know, but one of them apparently isn't even Google.
So
I
yeah,
thought it took like everything and just like
no. So SEMrush is their own unified body of search engine optimizers and data scientists
okay.
who came up with their own domain authority score.
Okay.
Based on an algorithm that nobody has access to besides SEMrush.
Okay.
But it is not to be confused
I didn't
with
know that.
Google.
So that's cool. There we go. Lesson number one.
Lesson number one. Lesson number two. Google will actually pull your zip code and your longitude and latitudinal coordinates.
Longitude and latitudinal. Yes.
Latitudinal.
Yes.
Coordinates.
Yes.
Whether you type near me or not.
But question.
Yes.
Does Google have, well, I guess this might be like a phone thing. Because like when I don't have my location services on all the time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so it'll give me like Scottsdale.
Where you were.
Where I was
instead of where you are.
Services on because I was getting directions, right?
Yeah.
So it'll give me that. It won't give me near me. So it depends on if you have your location shared.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, because it is trying to use your GPS signal to understand where you're at. And then the third one was proximity.
Yes.
Or no. We discussed proximity. Relevance. We didn't discuss relevance.
Yes.
Relevance has to do with the are you answering the question, because Google considers everything that is typed into Google a query. Are you answering the question in a relevant way to the person who is searching it?
Okay.
Right.
So like if you search Thai food, it's saying it's the query of it is, where is the best Thai food in this location? Or like where is the highest ranked, reviewed, whatever. Right.
What is the most relevant return or answer to what has just been asked?
It kind of reminds me of like Ask Jeeves.
Oh, 100%.
Like I remember using that when I was in like late elementary school.
Yeah.
But yeah. I didn't know it was a question that it was asking. I didn't understand. That was like lesson number 2. There we go.
There you go. Well, that'd be lesson number 3, actually.
3. Sorry. So we have authority, proximity, relevance, and
prominence.
Okay. Is that like what you were talking about earlier with like contact points?
No, prominence is the state of being important.
Okay.
So, for example, one way that Google decides prominence is through how many reviews a business gets.
Okay.
Why
we always push reviews with our clients.
Right. How important or famous is this business compared to that business? Okay. And then it uses that determining system to weigh which should come up higher.
So that's an organic.
Well, it's an organic. It's prominence is probably an ads too. That's how they probably find an ad quality score, is based on prominence. Prominence can also be dots. Yeah, prominence can also be thought of. How many brand searches does this term get? If you have Lyft and you have Uber, if Uber gets more searches per month than Lyft, then Uber is more prominent than Lyft. Yes, got it. Their brand is considered more important than Lyft's brand. And I'm not saying that's the case.
All thanks to you, by the way.
Well, I worked for both companies, by the way. Okay,
but more people will say, let's get an Uber versus let's get a Lyft.
I'm not here to debate that. I don't know. I've used both.
Okay.
And I would say that Lyft and Uber are pretty equal, but I do enjoy Uber more.
I do too. Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's cheaper or it's quicker.
It's fun to say.
Uber.
Lyft.
Right. I feel like Lyft is just Lyft with a Y, but it's not interesting like Uber.
It's
right.
Uber. It's Uber, like it's bigger. I don't know.
Right. It's
silly and goofy, but it's what it is.
Well, there's a reason they use that name, and we could delve into naming conventions at some point for new businesses, for brand names, so forth and so on. But essentially, they wanted a brand that they could pivot to any form that they want. If you say Uber, it doesn't lock you into any particular service. You can have Uber transport trucks. You can have Uber cars. You can have
Uber Eats.
You can have Uber logistics service. So they
Ah,
were thinking ahead. They were really thinking ahead.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And most people
Interesting.
don't connect the dots on that.
I
But
would have never, unless you said that.
right. We had some cool conversations with the Uber team back in the day. So it was cool to learn a bunch of things. But yeah, so those are the core concepts of SEO. And when we try and optimize for search engine optimization, which we talked about earlier,
yes,
we're trying to optimize for those core concepts.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when we go into a GMB and we write a description,
yes,
we're trying to optimize for what things?
But you're also doing that with keywords.
Yep.
That are relevant to that.
Relevant and proximity based, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why in the first line we say the
number one, the best,
the service, top, whatever, the service, right. And then the location, the
city, right? Yes. Because that's location.
2 of the 4 right there.
There you go. Boom.
There we go. Done.
That's how it's done.
Sweet. Okay, so now that I mentioned keywords, what are some? Because do you just come up with keywords on your own, or do you use tools?
I mean, of course, I come up with on my own. I look into my brain of
You're using more than 10% of your brain.
Nebulous space that it is, and I try and hook into the.
Yeah, is that our SAT word we're learning today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No. Yeah. We use tools unless it's a niche that we already know, for example. So we're heavy in the home services, HVAC, carpet cleaning. So we usually know those keywords off the top of our heads. Yeah. But when we get into a new services, we're doing keyword research. We use, a multitude of different results, from Google Ads keyword planner to Google's keyword finder, I think it's called. And then we also use Google Search Console to kind of try and look back at past history of what people might have been searching.
And we use Google Search Console for a lot of different things for our clients as well.
Oh, tons of different
things.
There's
so much you can do with that.
There really is. What's nice too is Google Search Console is what we call actualized data instead of projected data.
So it's what actually happened versus what's going to happen,
or what Google thinks is going to happen. So when you go into keyword planner for Google or Google's keyword finder, it's projected data based on historical trends. It is not actualized data. So Google, for example, may project that there's going to be a 20% increase in this search keyword. But if we don't see that on Google Search Console, it might have been because it was a poor projection.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So it's nice to clarify those two different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think then for, different things like proximity, we use Local Viking.
Yes. The heat maps.
The heat maps. Our customers love the heat maps.
They really do.
Send the heat maps.
I think he said we got like 4 or 5 requests last week for them.
Yeah. I know.
Because I think it's the visual. So for those who don't know, a heat map is we put in the location of the GMB, we put in a keyword, we hit local, we do a 1 mile like little bubble, and then it gives us green, yellow, orange, or red. But this is something we just learned. This is that if you are in a city, and let's say, because I know the East Coast is like this, they're all just kind of like, there's little,
little cities everywhere,
all just together, like in the little towns. You can rank only for your town because that's where your GMB is, or like the closest proximity because that's where your GMB is located, correct?
Yes, Sam. No, it depends.
Okay. Well, for the sake of argument right now, for the sake of this. So what we want is around where your GMB is in the city, we want those green ones, right? And then as you get out, it's okay. It's okay if it's a little red and orange. We'll get there. But it's fun to see over time because it keeps them, right? So
Yeah.
we can see like 6 months ago where you were, where you are now, where has it changed? Where have the green little like patches popped up? I just think it's cool.
No, I think it's good for our customers to see. They call it the heat map. I've heard it called a lot of different things, but ultimately it's a scale that helps them determine and us determine if they're growing in that area or not. From position, like we talked about earlier, in the Google business profile, as it's now called. We'll have to delve into this into a later topic, but going back to the proximity effect, the reason that you have experienced it being condensed to smaller cities is because there's so much competition in the niches that we do business with. If, for example, you opened a business,
because we want to challenge ourselves.
Right. We want to challenge ourselves 100%. If you opened a business for, I don't know, grass blade counting, right? Professional grass blade counter because you're the grasshopper and you like to count grass blades. Right? Okay, so say this was a new GMB category or professional grass blade counter.
Yeah.
If you were the only grass blade counter in the nearest 500 miles,
it would just green.
Right. It would be green for the nearest 500 miles until you had a competitor because you're the only available service.
That's a really awful job, by the way.
So note to everybody out there, go start a professional grass blade
grass blade counting.
Yep, professional. There's also underwater basket weaving if you wanted to take that up.
I don't like going underwater, but thank you. I will do like furniture, like DIY, like resurfacing stuff.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that.
There's a lot of profit in that, isn't there?
Oh yeah. Like you get stuff on Facebook Marketplace. It's like 20 to $40. And then you get it all cleaned up, sand it down, repaint it, add some new hardware. You can sell it for like $400, $500.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I just need a space now.
I'm sure there's different ways to like market that too, right? Do you just
put
it on Facebook or do you make a website? Do you call yourself
Pinterest?
Okay.
Pinterest. I'm a Pinterest girl. I have a board for everything.
You're a Pinterest galley. Okay, that makes sense. Gen Z thing, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard of this before.
I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of the generations. Like you're an elder millennial. Sorry. An elder millennial. And I'm like the younger side of the millennials, but an elder Gen Z. Like I was born in 96. So like I'm in that weird sweet spot. So.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess then in terms of that, is that we can expect on future episodes is to hear more about how to make a business around the facets of.
I mean, it depends on,
are you taking that up personally? I'm just wondering.
I mean, I'd love to. I just don't have the space for it right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to have, a little workshop, a little woodworking shop, and just, that would be my zen. Some people like to go running. I hate running. Some people like to go swimming. I hate swimming. Some people like to jump out of airplanes and skydive. I don't want to do any of those things.
Or count grass blades.
But I would rather do furniture. Wow. All right. So that was counting grass blades. Wow. All right. So we covered the 4 key concepts of SEO. We talked about some SEO tools like Mangles with their keyword search. We talked about Local Viking with the heat map scans, Google Search Console, which I actually use for 20 minutes before I start my day when I'm indexing pages for sites. And I'm doing monthly reports. I'll send like screen grabs of like comparing or, stuff like that.
We covered a lot.
What?
We covered a lot, actually. There's a lot of informative information in this first episode.
I've been like doing a timer to like make sure that we have enough content and we're good.
Oh, I think we're golden.
I think so. But we still have to, talk about what's upcoming, like what we're gonna eventually start talking about, like scaling your agency, what do I do if Google changes its algorithm? You know, and how to get better leads for your business, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot that we're going to be able to cover in these episodes. And what's nice is that we've kind of built the audience to generate input, feedback, and
absolutely,
that's really kind of what we're depending on too, right? Is like, what do our listeners want to hear us talk about? What do they want to delve into? Because there's so many facets around digital marketing and search engine optimization that we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But we got, work to do outside of this. So
we do have to do our job. Yes.
Imagine that. No, but I think it's going to be great because, like you said, how to scale your agency, how to quantify better leads, what to do when Google pushes your client back to page 3.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, they rank their client page 1, position 1 through 3. Something bad happens. They're back on page 3 and they're like, hey, what do I do now? Where do I go from here?
Because they've got an angry client calling them on
right.
the phone, like, what's going on?
What's going on? Like, why am I back on, page 2 after all this hard work? And, even jumping into the client perspective, if you're a client, there's something to be said about an SEO agency that can put you back on page 1 after an algorithmic shift.
Something shifts. Yeah.
Right. After something bad happens, because you should be trying to generate this long-term relationship unless you enjoy having multiple SEOs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of a long-term relationship guy, so I don't know about that, but
yeah. And I feel like a lot of our clients have said that a lot of other SEO people charge them way more.
Oh, way more.
Also promise things that they never deliver on.
Oh, 100%.
And, I feel like we have built that trust with our clients that we're going to do everything we can. We're not going to charge you your firstborn child.
Right.
And, we're going to, the customer service aspect, like we're going to treat you like family because you're joining our family. Like we're,
right.
And I know a lot of businesses are like, oh, we're family. No.
Like we really care. We're up at we have people up at 2 a.m. trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Well, me and Hino specifically.
Yeah.
Elise too. Elise is a baller. She's up at 2 a.m. trying to figure all kinds of things out.
Our whole team.
Our whole team is great. And I think that even talking about the consumer perspective, the client perspective is good. And I want to get some consumers on here, not even necessarily our clients, because I feel like they might be biased, right? Just a little bit. But people who are, thinking about hiring an SEO agency, not even necessarily ours. I'd love to get it in a different niche so it's twice removed from us, so we can just get down to the nitty-gritty of what people expect, business owners, what they've been promised that hasn't been delivered, why there's no transparency. And I think that in itself is actually a really great topic, and we got to do an episode on that. We just have
absolutely.
So if there's any business owners out there watching this, email me, message me, do something.
Yes. But definitely if our listeners do have questions or they want to hear about a certain topic or they want to hear more about something, please let us know. We're here to, make this as, informative and fun as possible. And speaking of fun, I have a speed round question for you.
For me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Is it
it's the questions.
Sure, go ahead. Let's go. Okay. Let's go. Do I just have to think of what first thing that comes to mind or what?
Yes.
So I can't. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
Is cereal a soup?
Is cereal a soup?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Cereal is a soup. Why is cereal a soup?
Yes.
It has the same consistency as a soup, and soups have the same consistency as cereal. So yeah, it's a soup.
All cereals are soup, but not all soups are cereals. Okay. What is your favorite dad joke or pun that you use all the time?
My favorite dad joke, and I probably told this one to you, is what do you call it when Batman doesn't go to church?
What?
A Christian Bale.
Oh my God.
So corny, but I love it. And I have, nothing against church or whatever, but I just think it's a hilarious joke.
Okay. Salty or sweet?
For what? Candy, food?
Just anything. Salty or sweet? Do you like
Sweet.
sweet or savory? Let's do that. Sweet or savory?
I'm both at the same time. Can I have both?
No, but I guess so. All right. Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
No, it's not. There's no animal byproducts in it. Unless there is, they should probably check the back. If there's animal byproducts like
I don't think
milk
there
or
is.
something, then they should probably not eat them.
I think it's just flour and sugar and eggs.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, eat them up.
All right. And then what is my last one is what is a unique talent that you have?
Professional grass blade counting.
I thought you were gonna say your steel drum because you're learning that right now.
I mean, I'm learning it, but it's not like an actual talent. Maybe the piano. I can play the piano pretty well.
Okay, but grass blade counting for sure.
I love grass blade counting.
It's your absolute favorite pastime.
I will send you a picture of me grass blade counting later today, and you're gonna be like,
post that as like the
yeah
image for the podcast.
It's grass blade counting.
Yeah,
Let's
of
do
you.
It. Yeah. No. So we're gonna use artificial intelligence to generate this through Midjourney probably, and it'll be great.
Okay.
I got
Sounds
this.
great. I'm so excited.
Don't you worry. I'll get it done. Cool.
Love it.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to our shenanigans. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you next week.